This company that was seen as a domestic small-scale product and rejected by industrial distributors now owns 55% of the market share of the industry in India. This company ranked 9th in the 2023 Global Top 10 Paint and Coating Companies by PCI Magazine. And this company has also consistently been providing the best ROI in comparison with its competitors for the past 55 years. Yes, I am talking about Asian Paints. Hi, this is Hiral and welcome to Level Up with Hiral. We talk about industries, break down complex business terms and everything entrepreneurship so that you can level up your business quicker. So you know how important paints are for our houses today. But here's the thing, no matter how stunning your interior decor is, it steals the spotlight in the worst way if your walls are peeling, cracked or faded. And all those carefully chosen decorations get overshadowed and the focus shifts entirely to the walls. Now to make it clear why I said that Asian Paints is the biggest paint company in India who is still mostly untouched by its competitors in the last 75 years could easily be explained by their size and revenue. Asian Paints runs its business in 15 countries and has 27 paint manufacturing facilities worldwide, serving customers in over 65 countries. Besides the brand Asian Paints, the group operates around the world through its subsidiaries: Asian Paints Berger, APCO Coatings, SCIB Paints, Causeway Paints, etc. Asian Paints consolidated sales for 2024 were 35,382 crores and standalone sales reached 30,728 crores. Now, consolidated sales is the total sales from the parent company as well as the subsidiaries. And standalone sales is just the sales from one company, usually the parent company. And the most shocking thing about this company is that it is the only company that has grown with a CAGR of 20% in the past 62 years. But this leader in the paints industry is going through some tough times in this year. In the first quarter of the financial year 24-25, the company reported a 24.6% drop in net profit, down to 1,170 crore from 1,383 crore last year. Things got worse in the second quarter with shares dropping over 9% on November 11 after weak results and rising competition disappointed investors. So is this sudden fall something random that will recover, or is there something more to this? Let's find out. But before that, let's see how Asian Paints actually got to this stage. And how did they really build such a big company? You know, these same paints weren't an important part of our houses before 1942 until Asian Paints entered the market. Funnily, it was an action taken by the government that turned into an opportunity for them. Asian Paints started in 1942 during a difficult time. India was still under the British rule. World War II was happening and the government had stopped importing paints. Back then, the paint market was largely controlled by quite a few foreign companies and one or two Indian paint brands. While most people in India were struggling with bigger issues like poverty, hunger, slavery, etc., a ban on the import of paint wasn't a major issue for them. But these four friends saw this as a great opportunity for local businesses. These friends were Mr. Champaklal Choksi, Chimanlal Choksi, Suryakant Dani and Arvind Vakil, and they started Asian Paints in Mumbai in 1942. Champaklal identified two main markets, the B2B market and the B2C market. Now the B2B market was the industrial market, of course, and B2C market was the decorative segment. When industrial distributors rejected their proposals, he turned to rural areas. Now here, people were painting bull horns and their house entrances as a part of their religious beliefs. So by supplying to village distributors, the demand grew and soon larger distributors started approaching Asian Paints. Within a decade, their revenue crossed 23 crores. Seeing this demand, he started selling to village distributors. Now they were hungry for new opportunities and soon they found the next market gap. At that time, the paint market had two main options: a cheap distemper that peeled easily and had a very bad smell, or an expensive plastic emulsion paint that most people couldn't afford. So Asian Paints introduced a better option: the washable distemper. It was durable, affordable and did not have a weird smell. The product became an instant hit and Asian Paints established itself as a trusted brand among the middle class people. But the founders of Asian Paints weren't done yet. They were always on the lookout for the next big opportunity. In the 1960s, big brands often gave the shopkeepers and dealers products on credit to build trust. Asian Paints knew that earning the shopkeepers' trust was the key to their success. But more important than that, they also needed to ensure timely payment, because no timely payments by a large chunk of people would only result in a lack of working capital. And lack of working capital meant slowing down of the business. So to address this, they introduced the regular payment performance discount. This clever plan rewarded shopkeepers who paid on time. For example, those who cleared their payments within 30 days throughout the year got an extra 3.5% discount. And the dealers who paid at the time of the purchase got an instant 5% cash discount. These incentives were something extraordinary because dealer profit margins in the paint industry were already very limited. This strategy not only benefited dealers but also strengthened Asian Paints' relationships with them. In the 1970s, Asian Paints took another bold step by cutting out middlemen like wholesalers and distributors. Instead, they dealt directly with paint dealers. This direct approach now connects them with 70,000 dealers, ensuring a more efficient supply chain. Dealers kept a small margin of 3 to 5%, while Asian Paints retained the majority of the profits up to 97%. Another stunning thing they did was they introduced tinting machines, which allowed dealers to get thousands of colors from a few base colors. For example, if a customer wanted a lilac shade, the machine could achieve the exact shade by mixing red and blue in precise amounts. This innovation meant that dealers no longer had to store every color, reducing inventory costs and making operations way smoother. Today, Asian Paints has more than 50,500 tinting machines in use, way more than their competitors Nerolac and Berger, who together have 46,000 machines. They embraced technology quite early on. In the 1970s, they started branch billing with computers and later used GPS to track truck movements. They improved efficiency so much that in 1980, their Bhandup plant needed 1,600 workers, but their Ankleshwar plant produced the same amount with just 250 workers. By 1985, they got down the number even further to less than 100 workers, cutting labor needs to 1/16 while keeping production steady. Soon after that, they started going global and expanded to Fiji, Tonga, Australia, and had some other collaborations with Nepal and Sri Lanka as well. They weren't just good at business strategy, they also mastered their marketing game. Pretty early on, they realized the importance of good marketing and branding. At a time when normal businesses weren't even thinking about it. They partnered with the renowned cartoonist R.K. Lakshman to create a mascot, a move that brilliantly combined engagement and awareness. Through print media like newspapers, they invited the audience to name the mascot, generating widespread interest. And just like this, Gattu, a mischievous boy with a paintbrush in his hand, was born. Gattu became the face of the brand, featuring in print ads, packaging, and TV commercials. Given R.K. Lakshman's reputation for depicting the common man, this strategy resonated deeply with India's middle class, cementing an emotional connection and strengthening brand recall. Another great idea of their marketing excellence is this old and iconic ad that features the character of Sunil Babu through years of his life, where everything around him funnily changes, but the paint on his house walls remains the same. Then there is Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai ad, Rang Malhar ad, and Har Ghar Khilega ad. Also, they were the ones who launched their website in 1995 itself, so that the customers could buy from anywhere at any time. Asian Paints is still hungry for more. Along with their vast range of standard decorative paints, the company also manufactures various products like wall primer, wood primer, putty, and stainers. Apart from that, they even started laying their foundation in kitchenware under the brand Sleek Kitchen. They are also into bathroom fittings and furniture, in which you can choose from AP Royal Bathroom, BathSense Canvas, and SS, and there are many services being offered in interior and exterior decoration. I think we can definitely say that their hunger for more and more opportunities made them a household name. They started with a market gap but left no gaps in the market when they entered this field. Even after 75 years, they provide great deals to shopkeepers and truly understand what their customers want. Most importantly, they focused on helping the middle class more than the wealthy, which helped them become the top brand. However, as we discussed earlier, Asian Paints has found itself in a tough spot in the 2024 market. The reason behind the rough patch was clarified in the Kejriwal Research and Investment Services report. It explains the sector has been under pressure due to intense competition and concerns over the entry of new firms in the market. For the latest quarter ended September 2024, Asian Paints posted a 42.37% year-on-year fall in the consolidated net profit at Rs 694.64 crore, the lowest in at least 12 quarters. The bottom line of Kansai Nerolac Paints also declined 30.68% year-on-year to Rs 122.79 crore during the quarter under review. The collective net profit of Berger Paints and Indigo Paints also slipped to 7.5% year-on-year and 7.7% year-on-year respectively. On the other hand, Shalimar Paints reported a loss of Rs 19.62 crore in the second quarter of financial year 24-25 against a loss of 25.62 crore in the same quarter a year ago. These numbers reveal how market inflation is shaking up the entire paint industry. The big question now is, who will make the fastest comeback and reclaim the top spot? Or will these big companies just enter the current trending business? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Level Up with Hiral for more such interesting business case studies. Ciao for now.